Marilyn Balcom, and I'm the President and CEO of the Gaithersburg-Germantown Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to welcome you to our 26th Annual Public Safety Awards Ceremony. Although we aren't meeting in person this year, we didn't want to miss the opportunity to recognize the extraordinary accomplishments of our first responders. We are here today to honor the men and women from law enforcement for their service to our community. The dedication and service of these individuals strengthens the quality of life in our community, and we're honored to express our gratitude today and every day. Presenting the awards today are Gaithersburg Police Lieutenant Sean Eastman and Lieutenant Chris Vance, Montgomery County Sheriff Chief Deputy Max Yu, Montgomery County Police 5th District Commander Edward Pallas, Montgomery County Police 6th District Commander Eric Stancliffe, Montgomery County Police 911 Emergency Communications Center Director Cassandra Onley. We also have comments today by Montgomery County Police Chief Marcus Jones and Montgomery County Sheriff Chief Deputy Darren Popkin. Before we present our awards, I'd like to recognize and thank the elected officials who sent messages to the awardees. You will see them throughout the program. With us today are Congressman David Trone, State Senator Brian Feldman, District 15, State Senator Cheryl Kagan, District 17, State Senator Nancy King, District 39, State Delegate Lily Chi, District 15. We also have Montgomery County Councilmember Sidney Katz and Montgomery County Councilmember Craig Rice. And of course, we have our Mayor of the City of Gaithersburg, Judd Ashman. In addition to the ongoing support by our annual corporate sponsors, the Chamber would like to thank the following businesses for their kind generosity and support of today's recipients. Our title sponsor for the 14th year in a row is Paul Davis Restoration and Remodeling. And this year we also have Montgomery County's Sidney Kramer Up-County Regional Services Center. Thank you to Kathy Matthews and her team for their support. Kathy will be retiring this summer. She's been a wonderful supporter of the Chamber and an asset to our community. I also want to thank Montgomery Community Media, our media sponsor, for making this amazing production possible. Thank you. Our Public Safety Award sponsors are the City of Gaithersburg, Gaithersburg Police Foundation, Holy Cross Health, Hughes Network Systems, Metropolitan Ballet Theater and Academy, McCarthy Wilson LLP, Montgomery College, Rehab to Perform, Rogers Consulting Inc., Soldier Fit, and Therian Waddell Incorporated. I also want to thank all the public safety official sponsors who will be listed on our website. I hope you'll listen to all these stories we present here today. They are stories of bravery, service, and community. So please grab your coffee, sit back, and enjoy the program. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Nanette Hobson, CEO of Montgomery Community Media. MCM is a proud supporter of the Gaithersburg-Germantown Chamber's Public Safety Awards. We thank our county's public safety officials for keeping us safe and informed. You are the best. We support and thank you.
Paul Davis Restoration and Remodeling is once again proud to support the Gaithersburg-Germantown Chamber Public Safety Awards. We must never forget how important our first responders are to our community. They are keeping us safe every day. Congratulations to this year's award winners, and a huge thank you from all of us here at Paul Davis Restoration. We really appreciate the work that you guys do.
Hi, I'm Congressman David Trone from Maryland's 6th District. I'm delighted to be here today for the Gaithersburg-Germantown Chamber of Commerce Public Safety Awards. Our police officers and firefighters sacrifice so much to keep our communities safe. They're the first people on the scene for some of the worst disasters and events in a person's life. That's why in Congress, I introduced 2 pieces of legislation to better support our first responders. My COPS Counseling Act and the Public Safety Officer Support Act focus on providing better mental health benefits and resources to public safety officers and their families, those who have gone above and beyond to protect our families and loved ones deserve to be supported for their heroic actions. The officers and firefighters who are being honored here today have demonstrated true courage and deserve to be recognized for that bravery. Congratulations to all of you on the award, and thank you very much for your service.
This is State Senator Brian Feldman, and I truly appreciate the opportunity to personally recognize and congratulate the Gaithersburg-Germantown Chamber of Commerce's Public Safety Award recipients this year. Each of you has exemplified extraordinary, heroic, dedicated, and exceptional performance in your duties and portray an extremely positive image to our entire community. Congratulations and thank you for protecting our homes, businesses, schools, and families each and every day.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Kagan, very proud to be the senator for Gaithersburg and Rockville. I'm also very proud to chair the Next Generation 911 Commission. Through both of these jobs, I am so aware of the courage and commitment that our first responders and our first responders show to their community and to public safety every single day. Thank you for what you do, even in the midst of the pandemic. Thank you and congratulations to those being recognized and honored today. We are so impressed by your heroism and grateful for your risking your own health and your own life to keep our community safe. I hope we are going to be together again in person next year. But in the meantime, I just want to join my colleagues, my friends, and on behalf of my constituents, just say thank you.
Hello, I'm Senator Nancy King, and I would just like to thank you for the job you do for us in keeping our county safe day in and day out. You make our neighborhoods safe to live in, and we really appreciate you. Thank you for what you do.
Congratulations to all the awardees for today's ceremony. And I want to thank the Gaithersburg-Germantown Chamber of Commerce for your leadership in recognizing the hard work of our public safety professionals. I am Delegate Lily Chi, proudly representing District 15 in Montgomery County, where I have lived for over 2 decades and raised my family here. It's a great sign that many residents like me in Montgomery County take public safety for granted because of your hard work. With our growing population and diversity, it is not easy to keep everyone safe and build trust with different communities who speak different languages and with different levels of comfort interacting with authorities. The past year has been extraordinarily difficult for many communities, including the Asian American communities. I'm so grateful for our police chief and other officers in their efforts and leadership in combating anti-Asian hate and bigotry and assuring our communities that they should feel comfortable reporting any incidents. Please know that your hard work is much appreciated. In fact, I was very pleased to see so many in our communities stepped up to show their appreciation by sourcing and donating PPE, meals, sanitizers, and other supplies to first responders during the early months of the pandemic. This is exactly the kind of community relationship we want to see. Thank you again, and congratulations.
Hello, I'm the council member for the 3rd District, Sidney Katz, and I'm the chair of the County Council's Public Safety Committee. I've had the opportunity to speak to a number of public safety personnel over the years, and what I try to always say is, thank you for your service. I know it can turn into long days and short nights, and you deal with issues large and small, irritating and dangerous, yet you are always there. Those of us who depend on you and value your willingness to put yourselves in danger on our behalf should always remind you of our thanks and gratitude. We thank you and your families for keeping us safe. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Montgomery County Councilmember Craig Rice, and I know that this year has not been easy. One that's been wrought with issues surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic, one that's been challenged when it comes to racial and civil unrest, questions around policing, but through it all, our public safety officials have been ones that have continued to maintain the commitment to ensure that people are safe, that people are taken care of. And so for that, I say thank you. I thank you on behalf of our 1.2 million residents here in Montgomery County who continue to know that each and every day when they pick up the phone and they dial 911, that someone is there to help them. That's incredibly important. And for those of you who have gone above and beyond, who have risen to the challenge, who have shown their courage and determination to make sure that everyone is safe, I again say thank you. So congratulations to all of the awardees today. Thank you very much to the Germantown-Gaithersburg Chamber of Commerce for all of their great work in honoring each and every one of you. You all should get awards for what it is that you do each and every day. But certainly for those who have stepped up beyond the pale, beyond the call of duty, deserve this special recognition. Take care to all of you, and God bless.
Hi, I'm Judd Ashman, Mayor of the greatest city in the world, Gaithersburg, Maryland. On behalf of our City Council and our staff, once again, it's a great privilege for us to join the Chamber and the business community in honoring the good work of those who protect us. To all of them, I say, we continue to support you. We are grateful for the good work you do every day, for your professionalism, courtesy, and restraint. And we offer fond congratulations to all of our award winners, as well as those who support and inspire them. Thank you for all that you do.
Hi, I'm Marcus Jones, Chief of Police for the Montgomery County Police Department. And today is a special day. It's a day that we say thanks. Thank you for the men and women who are being honored today by the Gaithersburg-Germantown Chamber of Commerce. To these men and women who have gone above and beyond the call of duty, even in the toughest of times when public safety is being criticized at its highest levels ever. But these men and women have demonstrated that they are willing to come to work every day and put it all on the line to make sure that our community members are safe, to make sure that we are out there doing what we can to prevent anyone from being injured. And in fact, we have saved lives. And we want to say thank you to everyone who is being awarded today. And a special thanks to the Chamber, the Gaithersburg-Germantown Chamber of Commerce, for awarding these individuals and recognizing them as you have done for so many years. So thank you so very much, and congratulations to all.
Hello, my name is Darren Popkin, and I am the Sheriff of Montgomery County, Maryland. On behalf of the 200 incredibly dedicated Sheriff's Office staff, I want to thank President Marilyn Balcom and the entire Gaithersburg-Germantown Chamber of Commerce for their enduring support of Montgomery County's public safety. Even in a year when COVID took over our daily lives, the Chamber of Commerce made sure the annual award ceremony, albeit virtual, continued uninterrupted. A huge congratulations to all of the award winners who showed such heroic actions of putting service before self. Max Wee, Chief Deputy of the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, will be communicating the exceptional work of the Deputy Sheriffs. Thank you again to the Gaithersburg-Germantown Chamber of Commerce, as it is so truly appreciated.
Hello, I'm Dan Cochran, and I serve as the president for Shady Grove Medical Center. Congratulations to all the extraordinary heroes honored today at the Chamber's 26th Annual Public Safety Awards. Adventist Healthcare, Shady Grove Medical Center applauds your bravery, dedication, and service. Our hospital is truly grateful for the fire rescue personnel and law enforcement officers who work alongside our caregivers every day. Thank you for partnering with us to help keep our community safe.
Good morning. My name is Tom Lonergan, and I proudly serve as the Assistant City Manager here in the great city of Gaithersburg. On behalf of our city, I'd like to thank all of our first responders for their bravery, their commitment, and courage. As the son of a police officer, I know well the level of dedication it takes to be out on the front lines every day. We appreciate all that you do in our behalf, and for that, we thank you.
Good morning. I'm Chris O'Brien, Chair of the Gaithersburg Police Foundation. Congratulations to all the Public Safety Award winners. We are very proud of you, and we thank you for your service.
Good morning. My name is Matt Maynard, president of Therian Waddell Construction, and I am honored to be a part of this program. Your service is invaluable to our businesses and our community. To protect and serve really describes these upcoming officers. From all of us at Therian Waddell, we personally thank you very much for your service. Keep up the good work of protecting our community, businesses, and families.
Hi, I'm Commander Eric Stancliffe with Montgomery County Police 6th District, and it's my pleasure to present these awards today. Montgomery County police officers were called to a home for reports of a shooting. While en route, police officer David Hall recognized that the description of the suspect matched the description of a subject stopped a week prior. Information that later proved vital in identifying the suspect and determining his means of escape. Officers Andrew Coran, Andrew Bird, Rachel Boulay arrived and began to secure the scene, attempt to locate the suspect and any victims. They found a woman in the home with a gunshot wound. She had sustained injuries to her face, head, and neck. She was unconscious and not breathing. Officer Bird briefly interviewed the woman's daughter, who explained that her stepfather had shot her mother and jumped out the second-story window. So the daughters did not have to witness the trauma of seeing their dying mother on the floor. Officer Bird instructed them to go downstairs and wait for the fire department. Officer Coran and Bird performed life-saving measures on the victim until fire rescue personnel took her to a local hospital with life-threatening injuries. As officers inside worked to save the victim's life, officers Anand Baguzer, David Hall, and Carla D'Souza arrived on scene. Air support was called in and the daughters were interviewed. Officers were now able to direct their efforts toward locating the suspect. Officers D'Souza and Kelly Cox remained at the house with the daughters and other family members, while officers Matthew Wagner and remaining officers and K-9 began to search for the suspect. Corporal Joseph Marquardt was disseminating suspect information, which was provided to him by the 6th District Investigative Section. The suspect was in fact the same subject Officer Hall relayed when the call was first dispatched. Officer Hall was able to locate a Ring camera which showed the suspect fleeing the area towards the rear of the community. The area the suspect had fled to contained high grass, small creeks, rough terrain, and several patches of trees and down logs. This type of terrain is dangerous since it provides outstanding cover and concealment for a hidden suspect. With the help of K-9, the Maryland State Police helicopter, and the Maryland National Capital Park Police, officers were able to find him hunkered down behind a tree and make the arrest. After a lengthy investigation, the suspect was charged with several felony counts to include first-degree assault and attempt murder. If the victim does not pass away from her injuries, she will at a minimum be paralyzed from the neck down. These officers risked their lives by entering the home to render aid, unsure if the armed suspect had returned, and also risked their lives in safety by entering into an open field, exposing themselves to ambush by an armed suspect. These officers did so with the sole purpose of tracking down and arresting the perpetrator of this horrific event and to protect the public. For their actions, Corporal Joseph Marquardt and police officers Matthew Wagner, Kelly Cox, David Hall, Anand Baguzer, Carla D'Souza, Andrew Coran, Andrew Bird, and Rachel Boulay are awarded the Citation of Bravery.
Hello, Matt Cornell here with Rehab to Perform. We appreciate the service you provide while putting your own lives in harm's way to protect us, our communities, and our businesses. You are always ready to perform. Today, I would like to commend and thank Officers Bowles, Hall, Karan, and Kim for going above and beyond without regard for their own safety to save the life of a suicidal victim and protect the lives of the bystanders. Great job. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Commander Eric Stancliffe with the Montgomery County Police 6th District, and it's my pleasure to present these awards today. A man was trying to commit suicide by cutting his neck. Officers responded to the call and found him in the backyard of the residence, agitated and possibly injured. As the officers approached him, he fled on foot. Believing he was still armed with a knife and fearing for his safety and that of the many citizens in the area, the officers gave chase. Officer Andrew Karan led the pursuit. After briefly losing sight of the subject, he made his way to the crowded footpath surrounding Lake Whetstone to catch up to the suspect. As Officer Karan approached him, the subject took his shoes off and his socks off and walked into the lake. Officer Karan called for backup and tried to get him to come out of the lake. When Officer Brian Bowles and David Hall and Dan Kim arrived to assist Officer Karan, he went further into the lake. At this point, the man was highly agitated. The officers could clearly see the injuries on his chest and neck, and he was now in danger of becoming waterlogged as he stood in the water. The officers worked fast to de-escalate the situation. They started their approach towards the man, ensuring him that they were there to help. Officers Karan and Bowles were able to approach on opposite sides of the man, who at this point was standing in calf-deep water. Recognizing that if he moved into deeper water with waterlogged clothes, it would drastically endanger his life. Officers Bowles and Karan decided to grab his arms and pull him to shore. Officers Hall and Kim immediately moved in to assist. He was transported to the hospital to be evaluated. All four officers displayed bravery, compassion, and restraint while dealing with a suicidal man. Without regard for their own safety, they pursued who they believed to be an armed suicidal and homicidal suspect down a crowded footpath in the middle of the day to protect him and members of the public. Upon contact with him, and after several failed de-escalation attempts, officers took decisive action, which led to him being safely taken into custody without further injury. For their actions, they are awarded Citation of Bravery.
My name is Jeff Stickle with the Law Offices of McCarthy Wilson LLP, a proud new member of the Chamber. It's been my honor and privilege over these past few years to represent injured Montgomery County police officers and other public safety officials, and look forward to continuing to do so. This morning, I join our public safety heroes to say, thank you for your sacrifice to this community. Thank you for your service to the public. And thank you for committing yourselves to the difficult job you do. And on behalf of McCarthy Wilson and myself, thank you and congratulations to the two remarkable police officers from the 6th District who today will receive the Citation for Bravery. These officers went above and beyond in an extremely chaotic situation involving a man who was severely stabbed. Again, congratulations and well done.
Hi, I'm Commander Eric Stancliffe with the Montgomery County Police 6th District, and it's my pleasure to present this award today. On June 1st, 2020, officers were dispatched to a call for a report of a stabbing in progress. A citizen witness observed a male run out of his house being chased by a younger male who was holding a knife. The male victim was notably covered in blood, and the suspect then stabbed the victim in the upper torso again while they were in the parking lot. Another witness attempted to intervene, and the suspect then began chasing him with a knife and yelling, "I'm your savior, it all makes sense now." This witness was able to grab a discarded recycling bin and held it up as a shield to fend off the assault. The original stabbing victim then ran into a townhouse and locked the door behind him. The suspect then began breaking out the front window of the townhome with his knife and tried to kick down the door. He eventually ran around the townhouse row and out of the sight of witnesses. The stabbing victim then frantically left the area in his vehicle to seek medical attention and escape the suspect. Officers arrived and quickly located the victim in his vehicle on a street near the incident. He was visibly terrified, barely coherent, and in shock. The victim was suffering from a stab wound to the face and bleeding profusely. The victim was found to have several cuts, stab wounds on his face, back, and torso that appeared to be severe. While speaking with the victim, officers obtained suspect information and broadcast a lookout to other officers in the area. Officers Jeff Rand and Brandy Maloka assisted with medical treatment and assessment of the victim. Officer Rand rendered aid to the victim, while Officer Maloka assisted in applying direct pressure to the stab wounds. Officer Rand supplied quick clot gauze to the wound, and the officers worked together diligently to stop the bleeding. As they were tending to the victim, the suspect walked up on the opposite side of Strawberry Knoll Road and surrendered to other officers on the scene. The suspect was now completely naked and yelling about being the savior. When fire rescue arrived, they transported the victim to Inova Fairfax Hospital for advanced trauma care due to the nature of his injuries. The suspect was transported to the hospital as well for an involuntary emergency evaluation petition, and the follow-up for criminal charges were assigned to the 6th District Investigative Section. From the time Officer Rand and Maloka arrived on scene, they maintained a calm and professional demeanor despite a very chaotic situation. Due to the uncertainty of the scene safety, fire rescue personnel did not arrive immediately to render aid, and officers were left to stabilize the scene and to treat the victim. The officers worked as a team for over 10 minutes to render first aid while awaiting fire rescue personnel. It is clear that first aid skills were needed immediately in this case, and the officers performed without hesitation to prevent any further injury to the victim. The suspect in this case will likely face criminal charges, and it is believed that the victim will make a full recovery, no doubt as a result of the prompt medical treatment he received at the scene. Today, they are awarded the citation for bravery.
Hello, I'm Max Lee, and this is the 14th year in a row that Paul Davis Restoration and Remodeling has sponsored the Germantown Gaithersburg Chamber Public Safety Awards. We are confident that we have dedicated and professional public safety officials in Montgomery County, firefighters, police officers, EMS, dispatch operators, and sheriffs who stay focused on their commitment to protecting and serving. Thank you to all of our first responders for the continued hard work and dedication in making our families and businesses safe.
On March 2nd, 2021, Montgomery County Sheriff's Office deputies assigned to the Domestic Violence Section to include Sergeant Bethia Eam, Deputy Sheriff Corey Clifford, K-9 Deputy, Deputy Sheriff Gabriel Cabrera, Deputy Sheriff Stephen McDonald, Deputy Sheriff Kendra Meredith, Deputy Sheriff Hector Navarrete, and Deputy Sheriff Lisa Titus responded to a residence in Gaithersburg to attempt service of a court-ordered emergency evaluation petition, or EEP. An EEP allows for a subject with a mental disorder who also presents a danger to himself or others to be brought to a mental facility for an evaluation. This evaluation is to assess the need for emergency treatment. These deputies were extremely concerned about the safety of this subject and his family members based on reports of an extensive mental health history, unprovoked threatening behavior towards random people in the community, an obsession with knives and swords, the transporting of multiple knives on his person in public and scattered around the house. Prior to the arrival of the deputies on scene, the deputies were informed by family members that the subject was lying on the driveway asphalt with multiple knives in his possession. Upon hearing this information, the deputies devised a plan to observe the subject from a safe distance prior to approach. As the deputies approached the home, the subject saw them, grabbed his knives, and fled on foot towards an open garage bay door and into the house. The deputies quickly followed the subject toward the open garage bay door, announced themselves, and entered the home. Once inside the home, they located the subject and observed him standing closely beside a family member armed with a long, sharp dagger. Unknown as to what the subject's next moves would be, the deputies immediately engaged the subject with clear, concise verbal commands to de-escalate the situation. Fortunately, the subject complied and dropped the dagger. The family member, who was in harm's way, was able to escape to a safe area of the house where he awaited further instructions from the deputies. The subject was safely apprehended and transported to the nearest hospital to receive the court-ordered emergency evaluation. Due to the quick decision-making, collective effort, and crisis intervention skills of the deputies on scene, a critical event with someone in mental crisis that could have resulted in tragedy was averted. The actions of the deputies on this day support the mission of the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office's high standards of professionalism and commitment to treat members of the community with dignity and compassion. Therefore, it is recommended that the deputies involved in this incident receive the Meritorious Service Citation.
Rogers Consulting is privileged to sponsor the Chamber's Public Safety Awards. My name is Gary Unterberg. We congratulate the award winners. We know that there are many behind-the-scenes things that we don't see and many dangerous situations that can be life-threatening. We are thankful for the public safety officials of Montgomery County, particularly Gaithersburg and Germantown. Thank you. Thank you again to our public safety heroes.
Officers Michelle Morgado and Christopher West were dispatched to a call where a man took a rope and a ladder to the attic to kill himself. Upon arrival, the officers located a man in a bedroom, standing on top of a ladder with a rope tied around his neck. The other end of the rope was tied to a rafter in the attic. The subject was highly agitated. The man's wife and daughter were visibly upset, crying, and were holding his legs against the ladder to prevent him from jumping off. The officers tried to de-escalate the situation and asked him repeatedly to remove the rope from around his neck and come down off the ladder. The subject appeared to calm down. Suddenly, his wife let go of his legs and the man kicked back the ladder and hung himself. The man was fully suspended by the rope. Officer Morgado immediately grabbed a hold of his body to relieve the pressure from his neck, while Officer West jumped to the bed to cut the rope. Officers Morgado and West removed the rope from around his neck and called fire rescue. The quick actions of these officers prevented the serious physical injury and possible death of the man. You see, once fully suspended, a subject can expire in a matter of seconds from a broken neck and the stoppage of blood and airflow. These officers did not hesitate to put themselves in harm's way to save his life, knowing full well he could potentially be armed with some other weapon to carry out his death. If not for the officer's intervention, this subject would have either died or suffered permanent brain injury. I commend Officer Michelle Morgado and Officer Christopher West for their efforts and award them the Distinguished Service Citation.
I am Margaret Latimer, Vice President and Provost of the Germantown campus of Montgomery College. We are happy to continue our ongoing support of the Gaithersburg-Germantown Chamber's Public Safety Awards program. Today, 4 of the county's finest police officers will be awarded the Citation for Bravery for demonstrating professionalism, bravery, and officer safety tactics. Montgomery College expresses our gratitude to all of the public safety officials for serving our community and businesses. Thank you for keeping us safe, especially during this past year, during a global pandemic.
Police officer Mohammed Afifi was working security at a Germantown apartment complex when a man approached him and asked if he would drive him to Gaithersburg. Officer Afifi explained to him that he was working a secondary job and could not leave the apartment complex. Then suddenly, the man took several steps away from the officer's door and pulled out a large fixed blade knife, held the knife to his own throat, and told Officer Afifi that he would just kill himself. The officer engaged him in conversation and radioed the Emergency Communications Center for assistance. Police officers Glenn Altschuler and Dominic Markajami arrived on the scene. Both officers are trained crisis negotiators for the Montgomery County Department of Police. These officers took over communications with the subject. Officer Altschuler began to build rapport with the subject while he and Officer Markajami, without regard for their own safety, positioned themselves in an area where they could clearly communicate with the subject, but were exposed themselves to great danger due to the lack of cover. Officers Altschuler and Markajami were able to peacefully negotiate with the subject. After 15 minutes of speaking with him, he was successfully taken into custody without injury to anyone involved. The immediate actions taken by officers Mohammed Afifi, Glenn Altschuler, and Dominic Markajami demonstrated a high level of professionalism, bravery, and officer safety tactics throughout the entirety of the event, and they are awarded the Citation for Bravery.
Hi, I'm Adam Cox with Hughes Network Systems. We are proud of the many ways Hughes supports public safety and public health around the world and here in Montgomery County. Today, I'm here to introduce 25 officers from the 5th District for their quick actions and professionalism during the first protest in Montgomery County last year. They not only paved the way for how protests are handled in the county, but they also earned the Distinguished Service Recognition Award. Thank you for your valuable contributions and congratulations to all.
During the spring of 2020, the United States was coming to grips with the COVID pandemic and the racial protests that were occurring throughout the entire county in light of the in-custody death of George Floyd, which occurred on May 25th, 2020 in Minneapolis, Minnesota. On Sunday, May 31st, 2020, members of the 5th District experienced the first of many protests to occur in Montgomery County in the coming months. This one was unexpected and unplanned. At noon, approximately 20 to 30 people showed up at the 5th District Police Station in Germantown to exercise their constitutional rights to protest and voice their concerns over policing in the United States. Due to the unforeseen protest, no action plan was in effect and no additional resources were on standby to assist. The on-duty supervisors quickly formulated a plan to respond to the current calls for service, keep the protesters safe, and maintain the safety of the general public and property. The crowd quickly grew to approximately 50 to 80 activists. The protests initially were stationary at the 5th District Station. However, the group soon marched up to Germantown Road and then toward Middlebrook Road. They were guided to the sidewalks and followed traffic signals, causing minimal interruption to traffic. In a short period of time, the number of protesters grew exponentially into the hundreds. They no longer remained on the sidewalk, and the decision was made to shut down Germantown Road between Aircraft and Crystal Rock for the safety of the protesters. After this occurred and the crowd continued to grow, the protesters began to march and walk into oncoming traffic. The marchers did not share their intentions in which direction they would go or for how long they would continue. The officers on Shift 1 and the Central Business District Team A were closing down roads, stopping traffic, and enduring endless chants and taunts about policing in the United States, very often within inches of the officer's face, all during the pandemic.
4 hours into the demonstration, the participants completely shut down the intersection of Route 355 and Germantown Road, preventing any cars from passing through. Many protesters aggressively surrounded vehicles and yelled at the occupants. One driver, out of fear, turned on the northbound 355 and soon stopped when a water bottle was thrown at her car. The young driver exited the vehicle. The crowd soon ran after her, and officers ran toward the driver, putting themselves between the charging protesters and the driver. At one point, a brick was thrown at the car, smashing out the rear window and injuring one officer. The officers were able to get the driver back into her vehicle, and she fled the area. The protests would continue to grow, and eventually the officers of Shift 1 and CBDA were supplemented both by additional Montgomery County Police officers and Maryland State Police troopers, shutting entire roadways at times to include large portions of Germantown, Frederick Road, and Middlebrook Road. The members of Shift 1 and CBDA were finally relieved at approximately 8:30 p.m., the first relief they got all day. The protest concluded a little after 9 o'clock p.m. Comments on social media complimented the officers of the Montgomery County Police Department on their professionalism. This police response would become the model of how protests would be handled in the spring of 2020. Based on the above facts and circumstances, the self-control, the professionalism that was exhibited, officers of Shift 1 and the Central Business District Team A are awarded the Gaithersburg-Germantown Chamber of Commerce Distinguished Service Citation.
Hi, I'm Dave Posen, president and co-founder of SoldierFit. At SoldierFit, we have an amazing group of people who care for each other, and we count on one another to show up and have our backs day in and day out. We are thankful for the public safety officials in Montgomery County that show up day and night, protect our businesses, our homes, our families, and our communities. This next story involves a detective who was instrumental in taking 4 violent offenders off the street. Thank you, Detective Corporal Scar, for showing up and protecting us.
Greetings, everyone. I am Lieutenant Sean Eastman, the Special Operations Bureau Commander for the Gaithersburg Police Department. I am here to present the Distinguished Service Citation to Detective Robert Schrey. Detective Corporal Schrey, along with other members of the Gaithersburg Police Investigation Section, were called out to investigate 2 attempted murders that occurred at a local hotel. They arrived at a chaotic scene where there were 2 separate gunshot victims requiring medical attention. Multiple shooters were involved. The first gunshot victim was transported to the hospital by people involved in the incident. A handgun was found near a pond on that hospital property several days later after the shooting by Detective Doug Seek. The second victim, an innocent bystander shot deliberately in the back, was transported by ambulance to the hospital. Both victims would survive their injuries. The night of the shooting, detectives arrested a suspect who hid a gun in the purse of an associate at the hotel. The handgun was recovered and the suspect admitted to firing it during the incident. Warrants were issued for the hotel rooms in question, and detectives found evidence to advance the investigation. Detective Corporal Schrey and other assisting investigators and officers conducted numerous interviews the night of the shooting. Detective Corporal Schrey also authored several search warrants for various vehicles, cell phones, and social media sites over the course of time. The investigation also included conducting hours of reviewing CCTV footage. These efforts resulted in the arrest of 2 additional suspects, one of whom was responsible for tossing the handgun near the pond at the hospital the night of the shootings. One of these 2 additional suspects was arrested without incident. The other was arrested by Gaithersburg Police Street Crimes Unit in an Uber on I-270 only after the suspect led officers on a foot pursuit across all lanes of traffic. Thankfully, he was apprehended without injury. Over the course of several months, Detective Corporal Schrey worked laboriously to identify the last shooter. A handgun recovered from a suspect during a traffic stop by Officer Guillermo Simpson in March 2021 was tested and was found to be the same one used during the shootings at the hotel. Detective Corporal Schrey secured additional search warrants in the case, that proved the suspect that Officer Simpson had stopped had been in the area of the hotel the night of the shooting. Other evidence also indicated he was involved in the shooting and he was subsequently charged. What made this case unique was the amount of victims, suspects, weapons, and the time required to solve it. Detective Corporal Schrey, with the valuable assistance of the Gaithersburg Police Patrol officers and members of the investigation section, weaved together this impressive investigation absolutely through persistence. The lengthy process resulted in 4 violent offenders and 3 handguns being taken off the streets. For his dedication and hard work, he is awarded the Distinguished Service Citation.
Hello, my name is Paula Ross. I'm the Executive Director at Metropolitan Ballet Theater and Academy. We are proud of the many ways that MBT inspires children and adults through dance and our community outreach in our community. Today, I am here to introduce Officer Sample, who will receive the Meritorious Service Commendation for his dedication and excellent work with the Gaithersburg Police Department. Thank you for your service to our community.
Officer Ray Sample is a self-motivated and dedicated officer who sets himself apart by always acting in a disciplined and professional manner. In his short tenure, Officer Sample has quickly established himself as a well-rounded officer that focuses on increasing trust and legitimacy in the police rather than merely enforcing the law. He makes sound decisions and focuses on providing quality police services to the residents of Gaithersburg. It is evident that Officer Sample takes pride in his work as he frequently conducts follow-up investigations without prompting and ensures that each investigation is completed fairly and thoroughly. In July, Officer Sample responded to multiple attempted armed robberies in the Old Town Gaithersburg area. He arrived on a chaotic scene involving several robbery victims. Officer Sample located the suspect, and when he attempted to stop him, the suspect fled and threw a knife into a dumpster. Officer Sample arrested the suspect and identified him in 3 robberies. This was a quickly evolving situation, and Officer Sample took quick actions that prevented further harm to the residents of Gaithersburg. Officer Sample's dedication to the department is also evidenced by the fact that he is always first to volunteer to assist when needed. For example, one night when he was heading home, there was a dispatch call for a shooting on Russell Avenue. Instead of continuing home, he responded and once again found himself with an uncooperative suspect. Once relieved at that location, Officer Sample reported back to the on-duty sergeant multiple times, each time asking what additional tasks needed to be completed. The shooting scene involved multiple victims and several witnesses, and it was large and chaotic, with personnel stretched thin, and the investigation took several hours. Officer Sample's willingness to be a resource for the sergeant proved to be invaluable on that incident. For his proactive traffic enforcement, Officer Sample was chosen to participate in the yearly DUI task force, which is a multi-agency effort. Officer Sample maintained a high level of productivity while in the unit. His dedication to the safety of the community is evidenced by aggressive enforcement of DUI laws to get impaired drivers off the street. Officer Sample also assisted with training of officers, participating as a role player in scenario training several times. Officer Sample's work ethic, positive attitude, and mature mindset is an example for every officer who is focused on developing trust and legitimacy in the police. For his dedication and service, Officer Sample is awarded the Meritorious Service Citation.
Hi, I'm Chris O'Brien. At Holy Cross Hospital, we deliver approximately 10,000 babies each year at our hospitals with state-of-the-art technology in private labor, delivery, and recovery rooms and home-like private maternity suites. Now imagine if you did not have all the wonders of the hospital and were about to deliver a baby. Who would you reach out to? Today, I have the pleasure of recognizing some of the county's finest that often go unrecognized, the 911 operators. Thank you to the 4 public safety emergency communications specialists who provided step-by-step instruction to help couples who were unable to make it to the hospital in time to deliver their child. Well done. And on behalf of Holy Cross Health, we would like to thank the public safety and healthcare heroes who every day risk their lives to protect our citizens and communities.
911 births are the stuff of feel-good news blurbs and television shows, and truth be told, 911 deliveries are few and far between. Babies by nature can be unpredictable, and labor is sometimes tricky, fooling you into thinking you've got more time than you actually do. So imagine, if you will, the sense of sheer panic upon the realization that you are in fact out of time. A frantic call to 911 is placed, and just like that, you've got EMS responding and a lifeline on the other end of the phone. Last year, the Montgomery County 911 Emergency Communications Center took over 727,000 calls for service. Suffice it to say, any given day at the 911 Center is a busy day, and calls can range from the completely mundane to absolute chaos. You never know what might be on the other end of that phone call. But the unyielding truth of 911 is that people call because they need help. 4 times last year, those calls for help resulted in 911 baby deliveries. Today, we recognize and honor those call takers. For those families that welcome babies under those chaotic circumstances, you will never be forgotten. You will be part of stories told for years to come, and you will be remembered as the hero on the phone that got them through possibly the most frightening time of their lives. You are faceless and nameless, but you will always have a special place in the hearts of those families. And you will always be grateful for your calm, your reassurance, and your knowledge. While you may not have been physically in that room, you were right there with them to hear that first cry, and you made all the difference. You are 911. Public Safety Emergency Communications Specialist Tamara Wall, Haley Nelson, Diana Morales, and Cameron Ivory are awarded the Meritorious Service Citation. Thank you and congratulations on a job well done.
In closing, we want to thank our title sponsor, Paul Davis Restoration and Remodeling, and the Up County Regional Services Center, our media sponsor, Montgomery Community Media, and all the sponsors for their generosity in making this event a very special one. Thank you to our elected officials for taking time out of their busy schedules to show their support. And finally, a very special thank you to the commanders, chiefs, and our sheriff, and all the public safety officials for their daily dedication and service that strengthen the quality of our life in our community. On behalf of the Gaithersburg-Germantown Chamber of Commerce, thank you for tuning in today.